Okay, so we've all heard the warnings about climate change, right? But for a lot of us, it just feels huge. It's this massive, distant problem. Well, today, we're going to talk about a journalist who's totally changing that conversation. She's making the global personal and showing us these hidden connections that are right there in our everyday lives. We all know the planet is warming up. The science is there. But why doesn't that knowledge always turn into action? I mean, for a lot of people, the science just feels so abstract, right? The data seems like it's from another world, and the sheer scale of the problem is just, well, it's overwhelming. And that's the issue. There's this huge gap between knowing something is real and feeling like you can actually do anything about it.
So this is where a completely new kind of environmental journalism comes in. And it's being led by people like Tatiana Schlossberg, who are laser-focused on closing that exact gap.
So, who is Tatiana Schlossberg? Well, she's not your typical journalist reporting from afar. As a former reporter for the New York Times and a really acclaimed author, she dives deep. She's all about untangling this incredibly complex web that connects our daily lives to these massive environmental challenges. And this is key, how that all ties back to government and policy.
And this really gets to the heart of her mission. It's not just about listing facts. No, her goal is to translate that dense, complex science into stories that actually resonate with people. She shows us how these huge global climate issues are literally woven into the fabric of our lives. I mean, from the t-shirt you're wearing right now to the show you streamed last night.
Okay, let's take a look at how this actually works. In her most famous work, Schlossberg pulls back the curtain on all these environmental costs that are hidden in plain sight, all around us.
Her book, Inconspicuous Consumption, is honestly a masterclass in this kind of storytelling. It really drills down into the environmental impact we just don't see, the impact that's hidden inside the stuff we buy and use literally every single day.
And this is where things get really fascinating. She takes a magnifying glass to things we totally take for granted. We're talking about the huge environmental footprint of everything from the meat industry and fast fashion to get this, the invisible energy it takes to just stream a video. She traces these massive global supply chains all the way back to the phone in your pocket and the jeans you're wearing. And here's the payoff. When she makes these hidden costs visible, her writing becomes more than just information. It's actually empowering. It gives you the tools to look at your own habits, to really rethink the things you buy, and it helps turn that general awareness into actual concrete action. Now, of course, when you start making these kinds of connections, you're also going to have to deal with climate skepticism, and Schlossberg doesn't shy away from that. She uses solid, hard science to cut through all the noise, and she really exposes how these deliberate misinformation campaigns, the ones often funded by big industry, are specifically designed to confuse people and stop any real progress on climate policy. But this kind of journalism doesn't just live in a book. It creates this powerful ripple effect that can actually change minds and even change policy. Think about it. By making climate science something we can all understand and relate to, her storytelling has had a massive role in shaping how the public sees this issue. It gives everyday people the knowledge they need to make smarter, more sustainable choices, whether that's cutting your carbon footprint or deciding to support businesses that are doing the right thing. And this is how it all connects. That individual awareness starts to build into real, collective pressure. Her reporting adds fuel to the fire in the debate over climate laws, and it shines a big spotlight on the need for stronger environmental rules and for big companies to be held accountable. Because, when a lot of people are informed and paying attention, governments really start to feel that pressure to act. And look, she's not just writing books and articles. Schlossberg is super savvy about the digital world. She uses social media to connect directly with a younger, more diverse crowd. She's out there sharing practical tips and helping to build this really powerful online community of people who are fired up and ready to work together on solutions. Okay, so what does all of this tell us about the future of climate storytelling? Where are we headed next? Well, a huge part of that future has to be a focus on environmental justice. Schlossberg's work is a perfect example of this shift. She makes it clear that environmental damage doesn't affect everyone the same way. It hits marginalized and vulnerable communities the hardest, which means that taking action on climate change isn't just an environmental issue, it's an urgent issue of social justice. So, here's the big takeaway. The best climate journalism from here on out can't just be about doom and gloom. It has to be about the solutions too. It needs to tell a story that's optimistic but still realistic about the progress we're making. Highlighting amazing innovations in renewable energy, powerful grassroots movements, and all the people out there who are already working to build a better future. In the end, what Tatiana Schlossberg's work really does is remind us that one of the most powerful stories any of us can tell is the one that connects our own daily choices to the much bigger picture. And it really makes you think, doesn't it? What are the parts of your story that have a hidden impact? And how could you start to tell that story?